Let's talk about how to pass the JP Morgan HireVue video interview. Today we're going to be talking about JP Morgan's HireVue video interview and how you can pass it. As ever, if you want more information about how to pass the JP Morgan HireVue interview, facts, templates, worksheets, courses that have been used by, well, thousands of people now, check out the Pass the Interview pack link down in the description below. So this video is going to be split up into 3 parts, and I'm going to add a special bonus at the end, which is just like a little pep talk for you. If you've got your JP Morgan video interview coming up and you're like, coach, but what should I do? So adding in a little pep talk just to give you some simple tips that you can use even if you've got your JP Morgan video interview like in an hour. All right, so stick around until the end. So first of all, we're going to talk about what can you expect, fast facts about JP Morgan. Then I'm going to go through a couple of the most common questions, a couple of the other questions that you can expect, and just how to answer those questions and answers that I like, and things to think about with JP Morgan's HireVue video interview. Let's get started. So first of all, what can you expect? Well, you may be one of 2 different people who are watching this. If you're a graduate, you can expect a HireVue video interview with 3 questions, 1 minute to think and 2 minutes to answer. So if you're writing out a script, this is about 150 to 200 words. Most people talk about 200 words. However, I would highly recommend that you don't write out a massive script and try to memorize it. Stick around and I'll explain why in the bonuses at the end. Now, if you're not a graduate and you're a professional and you're like, I'm going to be a manager, a director, some sort of master of the universe, then you're probably going to have a phone interview or just a straight video interview, because you'd go through 2 or 3 rounds of interviews. To be honest, the same kind of applies, really. It's just that the video interview is shorter because there's many more applicants for graduate positions than there would be for professional positions. But you should always keep in mind, if you're not sure how long you should answer a question for, 2 minutes tends to be the sweet spot that you should be aiming for. So here's a couple of facts about JP Morgan that you can use in your answer to why do you want to work for JP Morgan. So you can find all of these on a helpful research note down in the Pass the Interview pack below. I of course have memorized these, I'm reading them from my iPad. So JP Morgan has been operating in the UK for over 180 years, having first established a presence in London in 1838. They are committed to becoming a net zero carbon emissions bank by 2050 and have pledged to align its financing activities with the goals of the Paris Agreement. And in 2021, JP Morgan launched a £250 million programme to support the development of affordable housing in the UK as part of its commitment to responsible business practices. And their core values are integrity, leadership, collaboration, client focus, and community involvement. So there's 3 facts and also their core values. If you're thinking, well, where do you get these facts from, Mike? What kind of magical place does this come from? Just from their website, dude. So like about us, history, awards, annual reports, news, insights, blogs. To be honest with you, sometimes I've had people saying it took me hours to research the company. I'm like, dude, really? Have you never heard of the internet? Like, just use their website. If you need the links for all of those, we've already got them in the research note just to make your life easier. 5 fast facts about the company. Why do I give you those facts about JP Morgan and their core values? Because it's gonna come up in the interview, like almost guaranteed. If I was a betting man, I'd say you're gonna get asked, why JP Morgan, why you, and one other behavioral / competency question, right? So you must make sure that you have a good answer for this, which is specific and not generic. And by generic, I just mean, I wanna work at JP Morgan because it's really big and it would be great and it's world famous and I get to work with awesome people. And I'm like, wow, that's really original? Not. So here's the 3 most common questions that you can expect, and then I'm going to give you like 2 other questions that you might expect to come up in the video interview. Why JP Morgan? 5 fast facts about the company. It doesn't really matter what those facts are. If you want a more in-depth answer to this, just search why this job Job Ready English, and you'll see another video. We've got a free worksheet for that. One thing that you just want to think about is that your answers need to be different from everybody else. The answers are not the same, and you will smash 99% of the competition if you just spent 15 minutes researching this question. You'll be so much better than everyone else. And to be honest with you, if it was me and I was researching for a bank, I'd just look up their most recent annual report and I'd just read the CEO or managing director statement, which is probably about 3 or 4 pages. I could pull out everything that I needed to know from that, and it would take me no time at all. Like 5 minutes, right? Question number 2, why this job? So we want to split this into 2 parts. Very often when people answer this question about why this job, they'll be like, I'd be great at this job because I did this and I did that and I play tennis and I'm a leprechaun and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow. One thing you always want to think about is, how is this relevant to your employer? Do they actually care? So, you know, you're talking about all these things, and really what does your employer want? Put yourself in their shoes. Say you're the boss, you're the person that's hiring someone. They want to know, do you even understand what you do in the job? And if you explain that to them, which is part 1, and be like, well, I do these 4 things. Like, oh, cool. So you actually know what you'd be doing. Because of course, people will apply to all sorts of jobs and then have no idea what they're doing. The second thing is, do you actually have the skills and the experience to do this thing that I want you to do? Because people won't explain that. They'll be like, and I'm good at this and I'm good at that. And I'm like, that's cool, but I'm hiring for somebody to make burgers at McDonald's. Have you made burgers before? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, great, you're hired, right? You see how simple that is when I break it down? It's exactly the same for any job. Have you got the experience, the skills, whether they be hard skills or soft skills, doesn't really matter, but you just saying, I've done that. And if you go through the job description, you can literally just pick it out and go, yeah, I could say I've done that and that and that and that. The more of those that you put in to your answer, the more likely that you'll pass the job interview. Because all they're saying is, we need people who do these 5 things. And most people will say, I can do these 7 things. And they have no relationship to each other. People just completely ignore the job description. And then they're shocked. They're like, I can't believe I didn't pass. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't believe you didn't pass? Did you even read the job description? Do you even understand what they're looking for? And they're like, no, but I'm awesome, so they should have hired me. Really? Just match it up, yeah? And question number 3, what came up was sort of 2 different types of question, which is either commercial awareness, tell me about a recent piece of financial news. Now, a funny thing, whenever I had in the past clients join me and they wanted to work with me one-to-one, and they'd say, hey, I really want to work in investment banking, I want to work in banking. I go, that's fantastic. If I had £1,000 and wanted to invest in a stock, what stock should I invest in? And you would be surprised. I would say 70% of people go, oh, I don't really know. And I'm like, really? So you want to work in banking, but you don't actually know anything about stocks or finance or generally what's going on, which is fine. You want to get paid, that's okay. Your employer will want to see that you can demonstrate some kind of enthusiasm for wanting to go and do. It's like, oh, you know, I read BBC. Even if it's signing up to BBC Business News once a week, you don't have to read the Financial Times every day. You don't have to be glued to Bloomberg News. Just showing that you have some sort of aptitude for taking a piece of news and describing it and being able to lay that down in simple terms will make a massive difference, because so many people can't do that basic thing. Or it could be a role-specific question, like we had something come up in our research for operations would be, what's your understanding of operational excellence? And this is kind of a competency question, so you could talk about when you used to work as a barista in Starbucks. You could talk about when you had to do a group exercise for university. Operational excellence is just the ability to do A and B and get things done efficiently and a way that's really good at managing your time and your resources. So it doesn't have to be that complicated. I would highly suggest that you use something that we use, which is called Star Stories. If you don't know how to do that, then just check out the links in the description below. We just use the same stories for different competency questions, so you don't have to write acres and acres of scripts. So here's 2 other questions that came up. We actually picked out 9, and you can find out the rest of those in the research note. I love this. Sell us the best sandwich you can think of. This is amazing. So the best sandwich that I could think of was probably a sausage, bacon, egg, cheese sandwich. So how would I sell that? I say, imagine that you've just woken up, you are absolutely starving and you want something that's going to get you through the whole day. Let me tell you about my favorite sandwich, which I'm going to get for you for free from the cafe around the corner. So it's got soft, fluffy white bread with a crispy roll on the outside. We're going to have freshly cooked slices of premium pork sausage, crispy bacon that just crunches at the top, a single egg over the top, and then a sauce of your choice to just fill you up for the rest of the day and give you that real sense of crispy, chewy, meaty goodness. Would you like that sandwich? So trying to sell something is really just trying to tell them about the benefits to the person, rather like, it's got sausage, bacon, cheese. It's like, look, it'll fill you up, it'll be really tasty, I'm gonna go and get it for you. So this is about selling the benefits, not what the thing is. So what someone can get out of it. So what's a good sandwich? Well, a good sandwich is a great tasting experience and being full and thinking, yummy. So then you can go out into the world and do whatever else you're doing. Another question that I really liked is, what are you most passionate about in your degree and how did it prepare you for this job? Now this question will freak people out who haven't done a finance related or business degree. They'll be like, oh my God, but I did sociology. I did sociology. Hello friends. So say for example, I'd done a sociology degree and they're saying, well, what did you enjoy about it? Well, what I enjoyed about it is really just learning about the history of people and that people don't really change. That was kind of the funny thing about sociology. So what I learned is that people would do bad things and then they'd learn and then society would evolve. And, you know, obviously the bad things are less bad now, but people still make bad decisions. People are still incredibly impulsive and the human mind is still not that developed. I think our brain, as it is developed now, is about 20,000 years old. So we think we're really smart and clever because of all of this technology. But the thing that I enjoyed the most from sociology that I take into the job is just being really good with people, being able to communicate, being able to work to deadlines, being able to lead and manage teams, being able to manage different resources and multitask, and just generally being organized and getting a degree, which was a big thing because it took 3 years. Cool. So if you want, there are 9 of those questions. If you want to see any more, or just check out the link in the description below. So finally, here's Mike's pep talk. So this is if you've got a JP Morgan interview coming up and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what do I do? So first of all, good interviews don't happen by chance. The best thing that you can do if you've really got a limited amount of time available is spend as little time as possible writing your scripts and as much time as possible speaking. So speak, repeat, record yourself, watch yourself back. This is so important to do. What a lot of people do is they'll just kind of sit there with their scripts and read it out. And then we went to the store, blah, blah, blah. And it's really boring and it's not helpful because you won't do that in the real interview. You won't be able to sit there and read your script. Your practice must be as realistic as possible. And we talk about this in our interview preparation checklist in the pack. The other thing is just speak slower. So I would say 80% of the feedback that I give people is like, just speak slower. They're like, oh, I make mistakes, my English isn't good, I fall over my words, I forget what I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, because you're talking too fast. So you're forgetting what you want to say. So just speak slow. And the third thing is just remember that if this is your first interview ever, or if this is your 10th interview, it's all just practice. The way that you will improve is just by thinking, what could I do better from last time? What can I do better right now? And I would argue, if you kind of roughly know what you're going to say, what's going to make the difference is how many times you practice and repeat what you're doing. And also don't obsess about what's going to happen if I get asked a question I haven't prepared for, if I fail, if something goes wrong with the technology. Just look at it as an opportunity to practice. Just say, hey, I'm just practicing. I've got no expectations about this. I just want to see how I get on. And you will be pleasantly surprised by what happens when you approach it that way. Because remember, whatever you focus on, you feel. So if you're focused on failure, then probably you'll fail. But if you just focus on, I'm just practicing, I'm just gonna see how I get on, be surprised how well you can do. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, drop us a comment down in the below. Like the video because it helps the algorithm say that I am a valid human being and that other people should watch our videos, and let us know what other videos you'd like us to make and how your JP Morgan video interview went well. If you're watching this and you've got an interview, please come back and let us know. I love reading stories about people who've got jobs. We've helped so many people, and hopefully we can continue to do that. Good luck.